Hello all, Jay Mitchell here from 4NLWX, so look at your weekend and upcoming work week ahead. After a pretty solid week in terms of our temperatures and our bounce back, yes, we will have warming by the time you see this video Friday and even into Saturday, but Sunday and beyond, could be somewhat dicey to say the least. We'll talk more about that in a second, but first things first, let me take you full and let's talk about Thursday because it was just flat out beautiful. 83, 47, the high and low respectively. The high breaking a record that stood for 45 years. However, we are still almost 5.5 inches in the hole. Our rain situation is not getting much better. If that, we're barely at an inch for the month of October at the airport when we should be at 3 1/3. So, yeah, I'm going to keep saying this at perpetuity. We need rain. Thank goodness our drought monitor hasn't worsened, but if we keep going at this rate, it will worsen at some point. So, let's hope we get some more rain in here. Highs compared to averages for the month of October at BWI, 15 above, 10 below, and 1 at average of spread. The record being Thursday, as mentioned there. Looking at this, I want you to really sincerely think about this. 9 out of the first 14 days of October, we were above average at the airport. It's been half and half the last 12. Half and half. Yeah. Interesting what weather and the patterns that do happen across the state. Also interesting, the temperature jumps. Westminster was at 50. They went up to 81 on Thursday afternoon. Frederick started out at 43. I believe they ended up at 82. Gaithersburg started out at 45. They ended up at 83. We're talking almost 40-degree temperature jumps from lows to highs on Thursday, which is absolutely ridiculous if you really think about it. Just a beautiful afternoon statewide. Hope you had the opportunity to enjoy it on Thursday in some way, shape, or form because, yes, we got more rain chances. More specifically for the late half of the weekend and into the early portions of the work week. And then behind that, we will have to fall out with the chill. We'll talk more about those things in a second, but first things first, let's talk about the precipitation aspect of this because it's really interesting to say the least. I'm going to show you more models than I usually do. Usually I just show you GFS and Euro, but I'm going to show you why in a second I put out all these models here. So here's a Euro with the rain sticking around. And notice how it doesn't have really anything for Wednesday. And the GFS is going to do just about the same thing. But there is more guidance that is believing to Wednesday we could get some more rain. And obviously we'll talk about how this could impact Halloween on Tuesday in a moment. But real quickly, let's discuss this. This is the GEM model, and it's pulling rain for at least the early half of Wednesday. Watch that line on Tuesday, and then it sticks around with more rain and maybe some snow on the back end. Some flakes could be possible out in the higher elevations of the Appalachian Mountains. I'm talking to you, Garrett County, more specifically on that, but even then, I'm going to have to leave rain chances in for Wednesday simply because the guidance is really starting to convince towards maybe an event for Wednesday in that regard. Now this one, it's kind of showing similar, maybe not the snow portion because it doesn't have the snow shown, but I can't rule out a few flakes out in Garrett County for Wednesday evening behind that. Now rainfall totals, this is the Euro. It's being a little more stingy. It typically is. GFS is pretty generous with it, but even then, it's going to be scattered in nature, and I don't think a lot of locations are going to get too much rainfall, so I'm leaning towards the Euro end of the spectrum, where it's going to be a little bit lower in terms of our totals. However, with that said, do keep in mind that it's a possibility. You like that? You like that? Commander's forecast, we'll have to deal with some clouds sticking around. Could be an issue with rain, very small chances towards the end of the game, but that would be like really early if that were to start occurring. But anyways, big game, Eagles come to Landover to take on the Commanders. That should be a good one if the Commanders can stay competitive, but who knows. And Halloween forecast, I had to put this one in because this was too hilarious. A funny horror movie starring Steve Harvey. Survey say I had to put this one in. I'm sorry. But Halloween forecast.
Survey said.
You might want to bring the extra layer, coat, jacket, etc. We will have a small chance at rain as well, so keep that in mind. but it will be a little chilly. 50s to start off really early. Really early trick or treating, 5, 6 o'clock. You should be around 50, and then out west probably will be cooler, of course, but as we progress through the evening, it will become cooler. And by the way, this is just for Metro Baltimore. Places out west, it will be cooler for you. Down to the south, will be a little warmer for you as well. But just know it will be a little bit chilly for Tuesday evening, and we may have some small chances at rain as well. Cloud cover may also be a little bit more than what I'm suggesting here in this graphic, so keep that in mind as well. Looking at the Mitchell meter, really, it's looking like a meh type of deal. Like, I'm giving it a 5 for the weekend and the next 7 because it's just like, it could be better, but it could also be a lot worse, but it's just going to be meh. I mean, yes, Saturday should be nice. However, with that said, Sunday could be a little dicey. And then as we head into Monday and Halloween, we're having our rain chances ramping up. Wednesday, I'm keeping the chances around before we start seeing some clearing out towards the latter half of the work week next week. So keep that in mind. Urban Western Maryland, it would be really, really hard to try to say that you would get some snowflakes out of this Wednesday as it wraps behind. I'm a little more confident. I don't want to say confident too much because it may not even happen, but maybe some flakes out west Wednesday night behind the system. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, we clear out, and it looks pretty solid the next couple of days following that Thursday and Friday as we head towards next weekend. So keep that in the rearview mirror and hope, or should I say, keep that in front of you and keep that as like a motivation to get through the week of just kind of just mediocre weather, to be honest with you. It's just going to be meh in terms of our conditions. So there is that. Also, Wednesday weather discussions, 3:30 every Wednesday. Talk about more stuff in depth with the forecast. All the things I try to look at. So hopefully you will join me then for that. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Be safe. Go Ravens. They're at Arizona this week. Hopefully the Commanders can pull one out. I'm a root for them as well, even though the Eagles are pretty good and I like their team as well. Go Terps. I believe they're at Northwestern, and Georgia, Florida is this week, so pretty big deal in that regard. But anyways, I hope you have a great weekend. I'm Jay Mitchell from 4 WX.